Okay, so let's begin. There are people that say that architecture is not an art. I think that a kind of excuse to accept things that have not quality.
阿尔瓦罗·西扎，在建筑圈里不需要过多解释的名字，他被誉为当代最重要的建筑师之一。白色的墙体，笔直的线条，极少的柱子，光线与风景巧妙地进入空间。作品如雕塑一般，纯净、自然，像诗人一样。
Could you tell us why did you first want to be an architect? Did you want to be anything else?
I didn't want to be architect, simply. I wanted to be sculptor. Oh, I wanted to be many things as every child. In a moment I wanted to be fireman. Then later I wanted to be opera singer. And I went to the School of Arts here in Porto, where I could learn painting, sculpture, architecture. But then I was very interested in architecture. So I accept finally fully to be architect.
Yesterday I went to visit your project, Boa Nova Tea House. It's amazing. What was the project like?
So the Boa Nova is in another town. I was in that time living in that town called Matosinhos. And this was in a very beautiful site with extensive landscape. Mainly in this aspect so important of relation between architecture and the nature. There was a competition. I worked with a very important architect from Porto called Alvaro. He went with us to site and told us the building must be here. And we were in panic because the site he chose was very, very difficult because in the middle of the rocks. But then we went on and in the end we won the competition.
In the beginning of this century, there was a kind of revolution in architecture, the so-called Modernist. And I believe that Siza has not a style, but is an architect that works in the continuity of the modernism. My name is Carlos Castanheira. I'm an architect, Portuguese, and I work with Álvaro Siza. It's very difficult to talk about styles nowadays. I think one of the things that almost disappear is styles. And he also tries to that the projects and the buildings have a reality and coherence between volume and space. And when I speak space, I speak also about the light.
The window is a key item in architecture. And I remember that Frank Lloyd Wright once said how beautiful would be the buildings if we did not have to put windows. Why is difficult and why is fundamental for the project is that when you choose the place and also the detailing of a window, you are developing together and making deep the study, interior and exterior. So all the problems of architecture are concentrated in the item of window. I remember when I was a child, I would go to mass with my parents, and I could see nothing of the exterior. In general, the church in my land, dark, and only with windows high. For this church in a small town north of Porto, the area was very difficult. Topography complicated because it goes up in this part, and because of difference of level, we decided to make 2 floors. Not many years ago, in the church, there was a big change in liturgy. So the models, we had centuries of wonderful churches. We cannot follow those models exactly because the changes in liturgy change the possibilities of space. And here, probably because of that, I made a big opening to the valley here. So these changes were important for definition of church.
To work with Siza is like to play chess. The only difference is that we play together, but he makes the first step. And we do all kinds of projects, from little projects to big ones.
This is the building in Manhattan. Amusing. Oh, this is building in China. This is in Mexico. Oh, this is a bridge in Italy. In Italy. I like very much to work outside Portugal. Each town has its own character. To maintain one thing very important for architecture, that is enthusiasm. And I must say that in China, I like very much to work in China.
When was the first time you went to China?
The first time, if I remember, was for Bauhaus Museum. Building?
Building on the water?
Yeah. Yes. 5 years ago, no? 10 years ago. Oh my God.
Is China different from other countries?
To design, I would say it is the same. What we design and the way you design is not the same. So China is different from Portugal, from Holland. So China is very big and dense population. The difference I see is more wish for quality. What is important is practically obliged is to have the almost inconscient, not conscient idea of what is the atmosphere, what is the architecture, historical architecture.
Although Siza has already 86 years old, is still very, very open-minded. That makes him a young person, in a sense. Another thing that for me it's very interesting is that although we know that some of the projects of Siza are already 65 years old, from today they're still nowadays projects, and they are not old-fashioned. I think it's a bit timeless.
西扎的建筑里没有我，他赋予建筑减法哲学。感悟西扎或许不能只用双眼，打开感官，让被提炼的自然带来触动与共鸣。波尔图之行告一段落，对西扎的期待仍在继续。